The Chinese Mafia king, the shadows of love. Mei Li was a little orphan raised in the loving care of a tiny, well-run orphanage in the bustling city of Shanghai. Mei Li was well known for her sweet demeanor and beauty, which drew a lot of lovers despite her struggles. At the age of 18, Mei Li happened to walk into a nearby tea store and meet a man named Li Wei. Mei Li was drawn to Li Wei because he was tall, attractive, and had a mysterious, powerful aura. Li Wei was a prominent figure in the violent and covert Chinese mafia, a world she had no idea existed. Mei Li had no idea that Li Wei had developed an obsession with her purity and innocence, viewing her as a ray of light in his otherwise dark world. To gain her love, he planned their meeting and meticulously cultivated his persona. Mei Li eventually fell in love with Li Wei because of his charm and kindness. He bestowed gifts upon her, donated to the orphanage, and encouraged her aspirations to become a teacher. Mei Li was enamored with him since she had never received such care and attention. Li Wei quickly proposed their brief affair. Deluded by love and oblivious to his actual character, Mei Li enthusiastically agreed. Mei Li felt as though she was living in a fairy tale during their lavish wedding, which took place at a magnificent mansion outside of the city. But not long after the wedding, the happily ever after started to fall apart. After moving into Li Wei's opulent estate, Mei Li began to notice odd things. Li Wei would make cryptic phone calls, and vanish for hours at a time, and the mansion had places she was not allowed to visit. She once overheard a terrifying discussion about a planned hit on a rival gang between Li Wei and his allies. Mei Li, terrified, went up to Li Wei. Everything was revealed to him, including his violent history, his fixation with her, and his position in the mafia. Mei Li was confused and horrified at the same time. She still loved the man she believed to be her acquaintance. Sensing her concern, Li Wei assured her that his affection for her was sincere and pledged to protect her. Weeks passed, and Mei Li discovered she was imprisoned in her own house. Li Wei's soldiers would not let her leave the mansion without watching her every step. Her devoted spouse exposed a more sinister, domineering aspect. Mei Li felt stuck, but she didn't want to go because of her love for Li Wei. A rival mafia group invaded the home one tragic night. Mei Li saw Li Wei's vicious side amid the mayhem as he protected their house. She caught glimpses of the father who fervently loved and guarded her despite his violence. Li Wei became aware of the danger he had placed Mei Li in after the attack. He chose to quit the mafia because he was determined to change. But leaving came with a heavy price and wasn't simple. Li Wei became a target as his erstwhile comrades turned against him. Mei Li and Li Wei left Shanghai and took sanctuary in a secluded village. Although it was challenging to start over, Mei Li's love and encouragement gave Li Wei the courage to change. He put in a lot of effort to support them, and Mei Li enjoyed working with the local kids. Through the crucible of their victories and setbacks, their relationship grew stronger. Li Wei gradually let go of his past and their new life and developed into a guy Mei Li could adore. Their love stood the test of time, proving to be unshakable despite the clouds that once hung over them. Together, they created a bright future that was different from the depressing reality they had to leave behind. The Mafia king, restricted by shadows. Alara, a young orphan, was raised in a small, remote orphanage on the outskirts of the busy city of Verona. Alara was well known for her beauty and compassionate nature, which drew attention from many despite her difficult circumstances. Alara met Alessandro, a male, at a nearby market when she was 18. Alessandro was tall, dark-haired, and extremely attractive. He was like a dream come true. He was articulate, personable, and seemed to really care about Ilari's life. She had no idea that Alessandro was a prominent figure in the infamous Mafia, a group renowned for its ruthlessness and cunning. Despite his sinister past, he had been enamored with Ilara's purity and beauty. As his obsession increased, Alessandro started planning random meetings with Ilara in an effort to gain her confidence and devotion. He would encourage her desire to become a teacher, help with the needs of the orphanage, and sent her gifts. Ilara fell completely in love with him since she had never encountered such warmth and attentiveness. Following a flurry of passion, Alessandro proposed, and Ilara enthusiastically accepted since she was so infatuated. The lavish mansion located outside of the city served as the venue for the lavish wedding. Ilara had the impression that she was in a storybook. However, the fairy tale's sinister aspect soon came to light. Ilara moved into Alessandro's residence following the wedding. That's where she started to notice odd things. She was not allowed to access some rooms in the home, and Alessandro would have covert phone conversations and meetings at strange hours. She was chilled to the bone the night she overheard Alessandro and his guys talking. They were talking about hitting a member of the other gang. When Ilara realized the truth, she went up to Alessandro. He opened up completely, revealing both his obsession with her and his role in the Mafia. Ilara still loved the man she believed to be familiar, despite her horror and conflicting emotions. Sensing her worry, Alessandro vowed to keep her safe and declared his love for her to be sincere. Weeks passed, and Ilara realized she was imprisoned in a cage made of gold. There was no way she could leave the estate without Alessandro's men following her around. She married a kind man, but it turned out he was possessive and controlling, and his fixation got worse. Ilara felt trapped, but she couldn't leave because of her love for Alessandro. A rival Mafia organization invaded their residence one tragic night. Alessandro's vicious side was shown to Ilara when he battled off their attackers during the horrifying turmoil that followed. She caught flashes of the man she fell in love with, fiercely protective and anxious to keep her safe. In the middle of the violence, Alessandro became aware of Ilara's barrel after the attack. For her sake, he decided to break away from the Mafia. But there was a cost, and it was not an easy task to leave the Mafia. Alessandro found himself a target after his previous friends turned against him. Ilara and Alessandro left Verona and took up residence in a little village outside of the city limits. They made a fresh start there, with Alessandro putting in endless effort to make sure they were secure. Ilara supported him through the challenging change, and their love ultimately became stronger despite being put to the test.